It's good to be here in front of you, first of all, and you're all MBA students. Wow, it reminds me that a number of years ago when I was an MBA student, if I were to give you my leadership journey, it would be as follows, very briefly. I was born in a place called Ikopo. Now, Richmond and Ikopo is where in 1992 a lot of Inkatha and ANC people were fighting and died. That's where I come from. So, chapter 1 would be Ikopo to the United States of America. And clearly I'm a farm boy. I'll give you another chapter about my time as a farm boy, what I've learned from there. And chapter 3 would be like, welcome to Josie. When I first got to Commissioner Street and I looked at the Carlton Center and the IBM building on the other side, they seemed to be falling like this, literally. And I stood and gazed at them in amazement. I'd never seen such a massive construction in my life. And I was coming in to work for Arthur Andersen. Now, Arthur Andersen would choose the top 1%, top 10% in any university to work for them. 10 months later, they dismissed me. They said to me, we don't think you'll make it as a CA. Maybe that is important for some of us because that's enough to destroy any career. If somebody tells you that you can't make it in life and you believe them, I think the message I want to leave with you is that any person who speaks negative words in your life, they have got no power on you except that you believe them. Ernst & Young took me on, particularly a man called Brian Hawksworth. He said, I believe you, I think you are a smart guy, we'll take you on. Chapter 4 would be the Great Awakening. What I mean by that is, there came a stage in my life when I realized that I have amassed all the analytical skills in business. I've amassed all decision-making tools in business. I've studied everything about leadership, entrepreneurship, but this particular one was an inner awakening, my inner man, when I began to make decisions based on my spirituality. In a sense, this is not religion, this is about finding out who you are. Chapter 5 would be about fame. There was a time when papers would write this and that about me. That is before the age of Google. Chapter 6 would be glitz and glamour, the stage of Giorgio Armani's, the boss, suits. You can afford anything now. And that is a big problem with many of us, particularly in this country today. We can't deal with glitz and glamour. Then, of course, lastly, the discovery. Discovery is the time when I decided to found let's call it an entity called Anointed for Business Leadership Ministry. Now, this is a place where we talk mostly about young and upcoming executives who are seeking to succeed and they don't know why they're not succeeding, despite possessing all the qualifications in life. This is a place where we find solutions to problems of mankind, including sickness and disease. This is a place where you become aware of what wonderful gifts an individual might have. And so you discover yourself. What are the gifts that are there that you may not be aware of? So that's why they call it awareness. So in other words, this is a place where you realize that this spiritual is actually as real as the physical. For things to manifest in your life, they first have to happen or be created in the spiritual. When you decide to get married, you don't just wake up one day and get married. It works out in your spiritual realm first. So you work it out in your mind, Mind is not the correct word, it's actually the spirit. So, essentially also, in the creation of wealth, in the creation of the company, in the creation of anything that you may want to become, you have to create it in the spiritual realm first. Except you have it in the spiritual realm, it's not going to materialize. I would dare say that solutions to man's problem, to mankind, solutions to mankind are therefore found in the spirit. Why would people fail to solve problems that are in the physical? It's because you are solving those problems in the physical, and yet they emanate from the spirit. If you want to achieve greatness in life, the first thing that you need to know is that the seeds of greatness are in you. There's nothing like someone else has got greatness and you don't have. No. So you have got to have vision for yourself. Otherwise, if you don't have the vision, those seeds of greatness will never germinate. Period. But it's one thing to have the vision, it's another to have the discipline or the effort to achieve the vision. So you've got to have a sense of purpose. And no one can tell you a sense of purpose but you. You have to discover it yourself. That is where spirituality comes in. It's got nothing to do with religion. It's just spirituality. It's finding yourself. Who are you? Do you know who you are? If you define yourself as thin or fat, that's a secondary way of defining yourself. Find out who you are. And those of you who would like to be great in life, the only message I can leave with you today is don't compromise on what Stephen Covey calls natural laws. Natural laws, he calls them is, integrity, honesty, kindness, respect, all those good things that companies write as their values. So you are an MBA, what they teach you about decision making, what they teach you all these other skills is real in any industry.
Thank you, Mr. Tenza.